You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming.
All right, welcome back. Because the spotlight is back on 50 Cent, and this time it's bigger than the documentary. He's revealed that his Netflix series about Diddy barely scratched the surface, with 4 episodes unable to contain everything his team uncovered, forcing some heavy revelations to be left on the cutting room floor. One key detail involving a personal connection never made the final cut due to time constraints, and instead of shelving it for another season. 50 has hinted that the unreleased material could surface independently on YouTube since the series dropped. He says even more people have come forward with fresh information, questioning why he's pressing forward so relentlessly. That question was recently addressed by comedian TK Kirkland, who dismissed the idea that this is about clout or manufactured drama, making it clear there's a deeper, more personal motive driving 50. One that raises the stakes and explains why this story continues to intensify.
Out of all the women in the world that Diddy could have gotten with, he chose 50 Cent's baby mother.
It's a lot of variables to this particular question. Because I talk to a lot of people, older, younger, even my daughter, who's 22, she didn't understand it. So people give their opinion based on what they've experienced and their environment, people they've been around. So to the people that understand boundaries and respect, I always tell men you should never date another man's girl if you're not aware of it. If you know.
He made it unmistakably clear that crossing that boundary signals a deep level of disrespect, stressing that throughout his life, he has intentionally avoided any involvement with someone previously linked to a close associate because to him that's an unspoken rule you never violate. He underscored that Diddy is far from limited in options, highlighting his influence, resources, and worldwide reach, which only makes the situation raise more eyebrows. From TK's standpoint, this wasn't random or careless. It was a calculated decision, especially when viewed through the lens of the long-standing friction between Diddy and 50. Given their history, he believes it's difficult to see this as anything other than intentional, adding heavier implications to an already layered and escalating situation.
After the baby mother of one of his rivals.
Exactly.
Someone who had been taking shots at him for years.
Absolutely.
On purpose.
And he went after her knowing that they had beef.
Right. And slutted her out.
Slutted her out.
Just slutted her out.
Slutted out.
Having a whole basketball team run a train on her.
Totally
And
did. I
just
totally
the whole
agree.
thing, right?
Totally agree.
Right.
But his reputation from when he worked at Uptown, I'll be sure's girlfriend.
Oh, Kim Porter.
Kim Porter.
Right.
That's his reputation.
I'll be sure his baby mother.
Baby mama.
Yeah.
Then Eric Serum, his friend, the one that had she had his baby, Mia. So he's had a reputation of going after people.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend.
Tupac's ex-girlfriend.
He got a baby with her too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my point that I'm making to the men listening, well, if you don't understand this, then you're just poorly educated and don't really have common sense. It's a no-no. There's no way I would go after Vlad's ex-girlfriend.
Right.
I'm so loyal that if I met a woman and she said, "Oh yeah, I used to date Vlad," I can't f with you, baby.
Right.
I won't even put my, excuse my language, because that's how I move. Other people don't move like that, but you see me in Paris, you see me all over the world. Why would I want to do that to mess up
even as 50 Cent's documentary continues to dominate attention and rack up praise. Not everyone is calling it a clean win. Gene Deal has entered the conversation with pointed criticism, arguing that parts of the project weren't as original as they appeared and suggesting that certain ideas mirror material he had previously shared without proper recognition. He claims those moments weren't the result of new investigation, but recycled concepts, sparking questions around credit and creative integrity. His remarks have injected fresh controversy into the discussion, pulling some focus away from the documentary's momentum and placing a sharper spotlight on how the story was assembled behind the scenes.
Interview about, he said that he had a lot of footage had to be down, the documentary had to be downsized. You understand? I don't really believe that, because a documentary is a documentary, and they could have had 45 minutes, they could have had an hour, to each one of those. You understand? They left out certain things. He said they even left out the one about Sarah Chapman. You understand? And for whatever reason, he probably left out a lot of other different stars too. Situations that they could have spoke about. You understand? I have a problem with the documentary, and I'm just gonna let you know that the reason I have a problem with the documentary is that they know that they took my idea. You understand? They know that when I came to them, I laid out what they should do and how the documentary should be. You understand? She could say whatever she want to say. I talked to those producers before I even talked to her. They wanted to know what I had, what I was bringing, my pictures, all that stuff like that. And I told them about me, Tim, and Kirk. You understand what I'm saying? And how it would go. They did the same thing. This ain't the first time they stole from me, man. If you look at the Notorious Big, if you watch the Notorious Big, that part about the shoes, I had that in my book. And I was talking to K.O. Copeland. He was one of the writers of that movie. And I told him about when I let Big use my shoes at Soul Train Award. You had this old flunky ass dude, Mike B, get on Angie Martinez's show and talk about, yo, Big, he wore mixed max shoes and he went out there and performed. When you go look at the film, when you go look at Big performing that on that show, ain't nothing mixed match about them shoes. There was $800 Maury's, size 14D. Big wore 14E. E means that his shoes is a little wider than mine. He struggled, but he put them on and he went out there and performed. Those was my Gators that he had on. You understand? They did a little skit trying to disrespect me in the movie. You understand? And they said something about, oh.
He also weighed in on the growing buzz that 50 might drop even more material online down the line, suggesting that if additional content does emerge, stopping it may be out of anyone's hands. From Gene's perspective, if there were a real mechanism to silence or suppress the documentary, it would have been used already. And the fact that it hasn't been says plenty about where influence truly sits right now. To him, the project's continued availability sends a clear message, prompting serious questions about how much control Diddy actually still holds and how much of that authority may have already slipped away.
And if 50 do another one, and I heard he's gonna put it on YouTube or do whatever he's gonna do, Puff ain't gonna have nothing to do with that. Puff ain't gonna have nothing to do to try to stop that, because he can't. Because if he could stop it, it would have been stopped. You know why he can't stop it? Because Puff know people right there at Netflix. Don't think he don't. And I don't know if this guy still work for them, but he was part of the Flavor Unit, Shakim. He was part of the Flavor Unit. He was good friends. He was cool with Puff and them. Flavor Unit and them, Queen Latifah and them, they was cool with Puff. If Puff would have sent the cease and desist over there and they could do it and he had the power and they wasn't right, they would have been done it. You see, it's still rolling, right? It's still going on, right? He ain't got that power no more. You understand? Now, could he sue them because they used his likeness or used them and stuff like that? I don't know. I'm not that versed in they using him. You understand? If they can steal your whole damn idea, your whole damn idea, why can't they steal your whole damn intellectual property?
Gene went further by pointing to what he described as Diddy's long-running fixation on Tupac, framing it not as a fleeting thought, but as a mindset that quietly influenced years of decision-making. In his view, that focus shaped how Diddy maneuvered behind the scenes, guided key choices, and affected the way he handled both personal and professional situations. Gene suggested this perspective became a defining force in how Diddy operated over an extended period. Slay's steering actions and strategies in ways that still echo today.
I did see the interview that 50 did with Sherry, and he was talking about he didn't release the video about Puff having a kid by Kim Porter's friend, Sarah Chapman. Now, we all know that she used to date Tupac. You understand? So either he got her because he wanted some remnants of Tupac. We don't know. But it seemed like every dude that he had some kind of disdain, dislike, or that he idolized in a sense, he wanted their girl, or he wanted to be a part of their girl. I don't know why. Yo, bro, this dude was, I don't know if he was in love or in hate for Tupac. He wanted to be an actor. He auditioned for, I think he auditioned for Juice. But Pac beat him out for that Bishop thing. You understand what I'm saying? He wanted to be a part of that. Just go, and not so many years ago, when Puff started getting into that drugs and started using drug stuff, he started revamping some of Tupac's speeches. And if you think I'm lying, go look at the Grammy speech he did. Go look at a couple of speeches he did. It was the same exact words Tupac had said. That he was going to start this whole revolutionary of our people. That's Tupac. Black Lives Matter, the Black Liberation Movement, that was Pac. The Black Liberation Movement. Black Lives Matter? Come on, bro. This dude, everybody know that he had some kind of, I don't want to say disdain taste, but he had some kind of, I don't, jealousy of Tupac, bro. He had this.
Still, the documentary isn't without blind spots. And one omission that caught viewers' attention was the limited focus on Kim Porter. As Diddy's longtime partner and the mother of his children, she played a major role in his life. Yet her presence in the story was minimal. She passed away unexpectedly in 2018 at just 47 with pneumonia cited as the official cause, but the sudden nature of her death has continued to fuel public discussion and lingering questions. Given how deeply intertwined she was with Diddy for years, many felt that brushing past her story left the narrative feeling unfinished, highlighting a significant chapter that remained largely unexplored and adding to the sense that important context was left out.
Do you think that Diddy killed Kim Porter?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because of all the videotapes, because of the book, because of all the people she gave copies of her book to, or at least chapters, because of everything that she had on him, because of the tape that she used to blackmail him into a relationship and into a raise of him being sodomized by Andre Harrell. And I am not saying that allegedly, because I heard her and Kim Noor talking about it in the booth of the bathroom while snorting cane.
She was positioned at the center of his world, witnessing everything from private relationships to major business moves and moments the public never saw. Yet the documentary barely registered her role. Multiple accounts suggest her story was deliberately sidestepped, likely viewed as too sensitive or complex to confront head-on. Gene, who says he knew Kim personally and stepped in to support her more than once, believes she understood far more than most people assume. From his perspective, excluding her voice stripped away a critical layer of insight, leaving the overall narrative feeling unfinished and less complete, especially given how deeply embedded she was in everything unfolding behind the scenes.
That she did have a book, and that her book was about to come out. And she was talking about all the perils, everything that she went through in the music business and with Diddy. All the men that they slept with together, because there were men that they slept with together. There were swinging times that they slept with together. I don't know, man. How do you put your girl through some shit like that? Or how do you look at your girl and knowing that she's another dude? What kind of demonic mind you have to be that far gone where that shit don't bother you? And got rid of them. They swimming with the fishes.
Wow, man. So she was about to expose all that in her book, them sleeping with men together.
She was going to expose everything. I heard it was tell all.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Just curious, right? Did you know that Diddy and Kim had that type of relationship back then in real time?
Yeah. Yep. Because I know somebody personally that lives in Atlanta that was swinging with them. And I would never mention his name because he's a good brother. And he knows my family down there, you know, he knows my family down there. And I would never, put his name out there like that. He's been in the music business. He done put a lot of groups, A-listed groups out.
None of that perspective made it into the documentary, which reduced Kim's role to a handful of photos and a brief reference as the mother of Diddy's children before quickly moving on. A silence that felt glaring given how central she was to his life. For someone so deeply embedded behind the scenes, the omission raised serious questions among viewers. Mark Curry has also spoken publicly about a troubling dynamic involving Kim and Diddy, alleging that Diddy closely monitored her private communications and reacted aggressively when he heard things he didn't like. Here called an incident where Diddy became furious after learning about a phone call Kim had with producer Shakur Stewart, later confronting him at a public event and escalating the situation. According to Mark, moments like these pointed to a controlling environment that was never fully examined in the documentary, reinforcing concerns that critical stories and perspectives were deliberately left untold.
The other day, they just did a whole thing with the girl that he was dating was the one that was putting the wiretaps and all of that out. It was a clear case. She came, hey, I was the one who was doing the wiretaping and all of this, right? The tapping. So I knew about this before she came out and said that she was the one that was doing it. I was sitting there like, damn, he know everything she doing. He know her conversations. I'm sitting there like when I'm sitting there right there next to him, when I'm hearing them saying, this is what Shakur Stewart was saying to Kim Porter on the phone, that made him mad. That made him so mad at Shakur Stewart when he went to L.A. Reid party, hit him with the chair. You don't think if he hit a man with a chair for dating this girl, they gonna have a fight at home too. You know what I mean? That's why, they say he busts her nose up on the boat. And have you ever been to Sandro Pay's here? Brother play a mandolay. Remember that was in his song? I need a good woman next to me. So then it happened in Sandro Pay? Like that island. And then he bust her nose. She said, they tried to make it seem like she slipped and fell. She slipped and fell and broke her nose. Nah, the truth was she slipped and fell and landed on his fist. Yeah, but that's what happens when you put your hands on females. I don't really have much respect for a man who's physically abusive towards women, man. I kind of think they be kind of suspect. I'd be like, man, you know, girls.
This omission seems to fit a broader pattern, especially when considering how the documentary glossed over Diddy's infamous parties. For years, those gatherings were rumored to draw influential figures from across multiple industries. Yet, the film offers almost nothing. No notable names, no meaningful context, and no real depth. That absence feels striking, particularly given how openly those connections were discussed in the past and how quiet many of the same figures have become today. The lack of detail doesn't come across as accidental, but rather as another carefully avoided area, reinforcing the sense that certain conversations were deliberately kept off screen.
On all the his celebrity friends that denounced those allegations and were like, "This is false," and you know,
liars.
They were saying, "Yeah, should they speak up now?"
It's getting a little too late for those who are complicit. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone.
Jaguar Wright has pushed the conversation beyond the music business, arguing that the real foundation of Diddy's story was laid long before fame inside his childhood home. She suggests that during his early years, his mother was often focused elsewhere, with a steady flow of unfamiliar people coming in and out, creating an unstable environment. In her view, growing up amid constant change and uncertainty can strongly shape a child's outlook, leaving lasting impressions that don't simply disappear with success. Jaguar believes those formative experiences played a significant role in molding who he became later in life, long before the industry ever had a chance to influence him.
What he saw and what happened to him in his own mama house. All of those strangers, them up involved, looking around, seeing what was going on. And let's just be clear, it sounds like her house was a house of, you know, professional freak-offs. So who knows what he saw or what could have happened to him while she was busy entertaining people and pouring and getting tips, as she would say, for her after-hour life.
Oh yeah. He was. I'm gonna say he was surprised to hear that.
School bus driver. No, was he surprised or was he like, "Zip it, you talking too much"? Because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like you talking a little bit too much. They don't need to know about that. While she was sitting up there, oh, because I was a bus driver and I was this and I worked at the after hours. And I would pour them drinks and they would give me big tips.
Jaguar also highlighted that Diddy has openly expressed pride upon learning about his father's dangerous street C-centered lifestyle, and she believes that response speaks volumes. From her perspective, embracing that image rather than critically distancing himself from it reveals how deeply those early influences may have taken root. She suggests it offers a clearer window into how his mindset, values, and sense of identity were shaped at a young age, and how those foundations may still echo through his decisions and behavior today.
In Sean's own words, in Diddy's own words, he had said he had a sigh of relief learning that he was the son of a hustler or a gangster. Like he wanted that status. He wanted to say that he was a sigh of relief is a wild thing to say, that your daddy was a gangster or a hustler. That's what you heard that he was.
Well, I mean, like Tim said, they had a bunch of blaxploitation movies being played around the house all the time. They grew up with the Mac playing. They grew up with Superfly playing. Like, I mean, if that's what you got going on, you got two women in the house and there's no men around, and these are what the little boys are watching. You got basketball players coming over late at night. You got hustlers coming over, PIMPs coming over, women who look like they were modeling for Jet Magazine coming over. Like, it sounds like the nature of the environment is what shaped their perception of what cool was. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure for him it was, oh man, that's who my dad was. So I'm sure for him, it made him feel good because all of that stuff that he was watching, he really came from that. That was really his legacy. And yeah, I'm sure for him, it felt good to know that his dad was this big hustler who turned out to be a snitch, who got his brains removed.
She connects that mindset to how hip-hop culture later elevated larger-than-L life personas, pointing out that many artists' names and images were drawn from classic film characters associated with authority, intimidation, and control. Jaguar argues that Diddy didn't just observe that image from afar, but felt a personal alignment with it because it reflected the atmosphere he grew up around. In her view, that bond went far beyond music or branding and played a role in shaping his self-image. She also referenced Did's relationship with his mother, describing it as unconventional and uncomfortable, and suggested there were deeper, unresolved dynamics at play, adding a chilling undertone to the broader narrative she was outlining.
For the situation where they say he was trying to shape Misa into his mother, can you see that? Like,
yeah, with the blonde hair and yeah, and all of that. I mean, somebody asked a question: what kind of man puts his hands on his mother? The same kind of man that parties with his mom, the same kind of man who kisses his mom in the mouth, the same kind of man who seems to have accurate knowledge that his elderly mother can put both of her hands, her palms, on the floor and while she's standing up, bent over.
Oh damn! I ain't seen that one. Oh.
You never seen the Instagram video when he was talking about how his mom is still young and spry and how she still liked the party and how they was getting a IV drip?
Oh. Damn.
And she was kissing him in the mouth on the video. It was like, yeah, my mom can bend over and touch the floor with her palms. It's a very, very, very weird relationship.
Jaguar argues that everything ultimately circles back to Diddy's relationship with his own children, which she describes as deeply alarming. She claims multiple people have alleged that the children were exposed to environments no child should ever be placed in, raising serious concerns about judgment, boundaries, and accountability. In her view, the most disturbing aspect isn't only the claims themselves, but the widespread silence around them, prompting hard questions about what kind of parenting permits such situations, and why so many adults who are allegedly aware chose to look the other way instead of speaking up.
I mean, you know, it kind of goes into, I mean, he seems to be having, and again, I know the freak-offs, that his son is there. Like, it seems like he likes to get down with his kids.
Yeah. But that wasn't all. Just to hear Little Rod say, like, the boys were around. Roger Bonds talked about the children as well. What kind of parenting relationship is that? But then again, that goes back to the conversation of Lori Harvey, Steve Harvey's daughter. It was all known that she was spotted in them streets with Justin, and then she was spotted in them streets with Diddy, and they all tried to sit there and pretend like that wasn't what it was. Like, I don't know if anybody has not noticed, but ever since Diddy got pinched, they've all been trying to pretend like all of the stuff that we've seen that happened, that they was all involved in, didn't happen. If Lori Harvey was hanging out, and it's kind of weird, like the whole relationship with Justin looks weird. He looks like Mini-Me with Dr. Evil. It's weird. Like, why are there people? Why is there sexual behavior going on? And why are people naked in front of their kids, G? Doing all kinds of stuff. And meanwhile, Misa's running around making comments about how she don't like the way that Eric Sermon was depicting her in the documentary. You don't like the way you're being talked about in the documentary. You don't like the fact that, because see, it wasn't Gene Deal, because Gene Deal said he wasn't there, and thank God that he was able to admit that. Kirk Burrows did say that he was there and present when Diddy was beating the brakes off of Misa and putting the feet to her up underneath the car.
If 50 Cent follows through and releases a second wave of footage, it could open the door to entirely new claims, overlooked perspectives, and deeper context that never made it into the original release. Unseen interviews, cut storylines, or first-hand accounts could